Local News Live, a production of AOC Community Media, in partnership with The Advocate, the Acadiana Advocate, your source of local news and journalism. They provide us with the news stories every day so that you guys and gals can be updated and informed. And we provide Monday through Friday between 9 and 10 an audio version. And that audio version is provided by our great volunteer readers. And this morning, we are so lucky to be joined by Danan. Danan, good morning. My tongue just tripped over itself there.
Good morning, Matt. I usually have that problem every Wednesday when I'm here. Let's see how the day goes.
Well, I hope it goes great. I am going to mute myself and listen online.
Okay, Matt, thank you so much. Good morning, Acadiana. It is June 24th. My name is Nan, and here we go. Acadiana shatters daily case record. Region has highest coronavirus numbers in state on heavy day by Ben Myers. The new coronavirus cases reported in the Acadiana region Tuesday far outpaced Louisiana's 8 other regions on the state's highest single-day caseload since early April. The 7 Acadiana parishes comprising the state's Region 4 recorded 354 cases, more than a quarter of new cases across Louisiana on the state's heaviest day for new cases in months. The Region 4 tally on Tuesday was nearly double the next highest of the other 8 regions, the New Orleans area, which recorded 185 new cases. The 1,356 cases reported in Louisiana on Tuesday was the most since April 7th, including days when the addition of old tests inflated the totals. The Tuesday totals were not affected by backlogs or other anomalies. The Region 4 count was easily the highest on record, including backlog days. It was more than triple the next highest count on a non-backlog day. The new Region 4 cases represented 11.1% of new test results, more than double the region's cumulative positive test rate. Hospitalizations for COVID-19 in the region have increased 40% in 4 days, from 57 inpatients to 80, according to state data. Positive test rates and hospitalizations are common measures to determine if rising caseloads are attributable to expanded testing. Hospitalizations across the state have risen steadily for more than a week, especially the past 2 days. There are now 646 COVID-19 hospitalizations in Louisiana, the most since June 1st. Governor John Bel Edwards on Monday cited alarming case growth in Acadiana and other regions when announcing his decision to extend the state's Phase 2 business restrictions for another 28 days. Lafayette Parish Mayor President Josh Guillory said last week that he would keep an open mind in considering whether to impose tighter local restrictions than the governor's order. Every Region 4 parish recorded extraordinarily large number of cases on Tuesday, with Lafayette Parish adding 134 cases and 1,218 tests. Lafayette Parish has seen more cases since June 20 than any other 4-day period, and the positive test rate since then is 10%, more than double its cumulative rate. 4 Region 4 parishes increased their overall caseloads by double-digit percentage points. The most pronounced increase was in Vermilion Parish, where the overall caseload increased by nearly 24%. Vermilion had been one of the least affected Region 4 parishes until recently, but the caseload there has increased 150% in the past 11 days. Some of the recent increase in Vermilion Parish has come from an employee outbreak at the Maison du Monde nursing home in Abbeville, where 7 staff members have tested positive in the 7 days prior to Tuesday. Region 4 nursing homes reported 73 employees and residents testing positive in that week, according to the state's weekly update posted on Monday. That was about 1/10 of the Region 4 caseload in that period. Evangeline Oaks Guest House in Carencro, which is in Lafayette Parish, saw the most new cases with 15 residents and 4 staff members infected. Other large increases were reported at Southwind Healthcare and Rehab Center in Crowley, with 10 new cases among residents and 5 among staff. J. Michael Morrow Memorial Nursing Home in Arnoville, with 6 new cases among residents. Courtyard Manor in Lafayette, which had 4 new cases among residents, and Camelot of Broussard, with 3 new cases among residents. It was not immediately clear how many of the cases reported Tuesday were related to nursing homes, but Edwards said Monday that new cases in Acadiana and elsewhere are not primarily from congregate settings. Waiting game. Multiple Acadiana schools suspend football workouts because of virus cases, by Kevin Foote. Voluntary workouts for multiple athletic programs have been suspended at schools across the Acadiana area because student athletes either tested positive for the coronavirus or came into contact with someone who did, according to school officials. 4 parishes, Lafayette, Acadia, St. Landry, and Vermilion, have reported full or partial suspension of football workouts. Allison Dickerson, Public Information Officer for the Lafayette Parish School Board, wouldn't confirm a number of identify the schools, but she said coronavirus protocols triggered when a student athlete tests positive or comes in contact with someone who tests positive have been deployed in the parish. Under the state's Phase 2 reopening guidelines, high school football players may work out in groups of 25 or fewer. No school in Lafayette Parish has had to completely suspend all workouts. Only certain 25 player groups within schools have been suspended. In Acadia Parish, Superintendent Scott Richard confirmed Monday that 2 schools in his parish have suspended all workouts. We've had a couple of situations at 2 of our high schools where we've had to suspend summer workouts, Richard said. We implemented testing protocols in conjunction with the Department of Health, and we're following their guidance on how to move forward. Acadia Parish has been more aggressive than other parishes in the area by providing testing for players, coaches, family, and administrators. Richard emphasized his office is working hand in hand with the Department of Health, Dr. Tina Stefanski, and other medical professionals. Dr. Stefanski has been a tremendous help to us during this process. Stefanski works with the state's Office of Public Health. School officials also expressed concern for the safety of parents and grandparents living with football players who might have come in contact with the virus. Iberia Parish, similar to Acadia, has chosen more stringent protections for student athletes, according to Joel McFarland, supervisor of child welfare. While the rest of the state followed Governor John Bel Edwards' order into Phase 2, which allowed for groups of 25 to work out, Iberia Parish continued following the Phase 1 guideline, limiting practice groups to 10 or 15 players to be as safe as possible, McFarland said. He said Monday all schools in his parish are beginning their 3rd week of voluntary workouts with no reports of positive tests for the coronavirus. St. Martin is the only other Acadiana parish with no positive tests affecting football workouts. Athletic Director Anthony Polizzola confirmed so far so good for Breaux Bridge, St. Martinville, and Cecilia as of Monday afternoon. Meanwhile, St. Landry Athletic Director Jerome Robinson confirmed Monday that Beauchene High has suspended voluntary workouts due to a player coming in contact with someone who tested positive outside of school. Fingers crossed, Robinson said. It's the only one so far in St. Landry Parish. Few details were available in Vermilion Parish, but a school official did verify that 2 or 3 schools had to deploy the protocols to address either a positive test or a player coming in contact with someone who tested positive. All 6 parishes are taking temperatures before admitting players and coaches to workouts. Last week, the LHSAA sent out a memo to all schools stating any student athlete, coach, or other affiliated personnel who test positive for COVID-19 must have a release from their physician or other medical provider in order to return to any level of sport participation. LCG opens grant application process Funding is available to help small businesses by Adam Daigle. Small businesses in Lafayette Parish hampered by the COVID-19 shutdown can apply for a grant through a program offered by Lafayette Consolidated Government and the Lafayette Economic Development Authority. The Lafayette Business Recovery Program will award forgivable grants up to $10,000 to assist with 3 months of costs associated with the pandemic after March 27th. Expenses must include, but are not limited to, rent, payroll, insurance, benefits, and utilities. The estimated 2,800 businesses that may qualify are those that employ 10 or fewer people and include hairstylists, photographers, musicians, artists, bakers, caterers, dog trainers, and wedding planners. Getting assistance to those small businesses that were forced to close through no fault of their own because of COVID-19 is a critical step towards getting through this fiscal emergency, Parish Mayor President Josh Guillory said. We've already seen several businesses close in recent months, so it is more important than ever to invest in our local economy. The U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development awarded city parish government a community development block grant totaling $852,935. The Lafayette City and Parish Councils in May agreed to use the funds to help local businesses that did not get other government assistance during the coronavirus pandemic. The Lafayette Economic Development Authority offered an additional $200,000, which will be housed at the Community Foundation of Acadiana, along with its Business Relief Fund, established to accept private donations. All efforts are intended to provide relief to the business community affected by COVID-19. The community development staff, along with the LEDA staff, have worked tirelessly to put together a simplified process for small businesses to receive some much needed relief, says Collis Hanway, Director of Community Development for LCG. In anticipation of receiving final approval from HUD to access the funding, we can begin receiving pre-screening applications. With this process, we hope to reduce the time between the application submission and final funding. The Lafayette Economic Development Authority will facilitate the application process. A committee will review the applications. The program selection committee will include Lafayette Parish Councilmen Josh Carlson and Brian Tabor, Lafayette City Council members Nanette Cook and Patrick Lewis, Jim Dorr, Vistage Worldwide, Willie Leday, retired federal probation officer, Heidi Melanson, Louisiana Small Business Development Center, Frank Nooner of Nooner Pate, and Nathan Thornton of Thornton Consulting and Associates. To apply, visit lafayette.org/BRP. That's lafayette.org/BRP. A helpline will be available Wednesday at 337-769-4091. Words hosts Pieces of Hope virtual open mic on Wednesday, June 24th. That's today at 7 p.m. The Festival of Words hosts Pieces of Hope, a virtual open mic on Zoom. For 15 years, the festival has hosted the Grand Coteau-based event featuring writers, musicians, and storytellers. Due to the coronavirus pandemic, the creative community will gather online. Coming together is an act of hope. Come to share or just to listen and enjoy. The 2-hour open mic presents 20 writers and musicians, each performing for 5 minutes. Performers are from Louisiana and throughout the U.S. region. Make yourself a drink, grab some cheese and crackers, and sit back to enjoy some exquisite performances that will soothe, entertain, and enlighten. To join us, go to the Facebook page for Pieces of Hope Virtual Open Mic. The link to the Zoom cafe will be available the day of the event, which is actually today, so it should be available. Or you can contact Martha at FOWMARTHA@gmail.com or call 337-804-2482. 337-804-2482. This free community event is suitable for all ages and is sponsored by the Festival of Words Cultural Arts Collective. All right. Schools Aim Aid at Tech Needs by Kate Gagliano. Let me move this up. Okay. Lafayette's 2 Renaissance Charter Academies are investing most of their allocations from the federal coronavirus relief bill toward purchasing computers and internet hotspots for the fall, focusing on technology and internet access as the foundation of a successful school experience amid the pandemic. Acadiana Renaissance Charter Academy and Lafayette Renaissance Charter Academy were allocated $169,859 and $325,871 in federal relief funding, respectively, out of Louisiana's total $287 million allocation in the Elementary and Secondary School Emergency Relief Fund of the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act. Phew. Each school's allotment was based on Title I funding guidelines. Title I is a targeted federal assistance program that provides funds to schools that serve higher populations of low-income students. The charter schools, managed by national charter management company Charter Schools USA, devoted about 80% of their federal relief funds to devices, 10% to the internet access, and 10% to facility needs and professional development for educators. Charter Schools USA Louisiana Superintendent Lonnie Luce said in a Zoom interview, they paired the federal funds with existing grant funding and budgeted dollars to meet the most pressing needs, he said. Luce said the funding decisions were based on a template his team adapted from Louisiana Department of Education guidance. While the federal funds are controlled by the Lafayette Charter Foundation, the school's local governance board, Charter Schools USA, primarily directed the funds, with later budget approval from the foundation, Luce said. The facilities spending focused on safety measures like personal protective equipment for staff, masks for staff and students, thermometers, hand sanitizer, cleaning supplies, and Clorox Total 360 systems, which will allow the school to more quickly and fully sanitize buildings, Luce said. The technology portion was the bulk of spending because continued learning will rely heavily on students' computer and internet access should COVID-19 spikes in the fall necessitate schools shifting to a hybrid in-person and virtual or full virtual experience, Acadiana Renaissance Upper School Principal Lindell Terrio said. The Renaissance Charter Academies forged ahead with virtual learning in the spring, but it was an unequal experience. Students without computer access were sent home with print packages, while others without home Wi-Fi cobbled together internet access using family cell phones. It worked for the time being as the schools rapidly scaled virtual classrooms, but it's not the way they want to start a new school, she said. What we've known, but what we found out for sure this spring, is that your access to technology is the equalizer, especially for our economically disadvantaged students. If you're not helping to provide it for all students, then it becomes education for the haves and not the have-nots, Terrio said. Lafayette Renaissance Principal Clovis Benoit said his campus was planning to shift to a one-on-one student-to-device setup within 5 years, but the CARES support will allow the school to provide a computer and home internet access for each of their 1,050 students enrolled for the fall. Students in kindergarten through second grade will be outfitted with iPads, while students in 3rd to 8th grades will use Chromebooks, he said. Benoit said they surveyed students to get an accurate picture of access needs when Governor John Bel Edwards first closed schools in March. Robert Logan, Academics and Technology Director for Online Learning Solutions, nonprofit boss, said the two charter schools are leveraging a partnership between the Louisiana Department of Education and Verizon to purchase hotspots and provide low-cost, unlimited data plans for 6-month stints. Without the partnership, acquiring hotspots and data packages for every student in need could have been cost prohibitive, he said. The schools are also building out a comprehensive online learning platform through the learning management system Schoology, which will be one-stop shop home for the students' online learning needs and lessons, Logan said. The system was in the works before the pandemic, but has been wrapped up across the Charter Schools USA network now that virtual learning is an immediate need. The use of technology, that's the vector to curriculum and the vector to learning. That's the only way we can get it done once we disconnect and go remote, Logan said. Acadiana Renaissance Assistant Principal Claire Richard said the school, already at a 1-to-1 student-to-device ratio, used the funds to replace dilapidated devices and upgrade from Kindle tablets to iPads and Chromebooks like Lafayette Renaissance. The school, which is opening in 9th grade in the fall and expanding seats in other grades, expects around 1,300 students enrolled in the fall. LUS said the charter schools are moving swiftly to purchase the hotspots and computers to avoid delivery delays. The computers need to be tested and uploaded with necessary software before they can be handed out to students. If the machines are delayed, LUS said the team is hoping they'll have at least one interrupted month of traditional face-to-face schooling to resolve any issues should school be converted to a hybrid or fully virtual setting later in the fall. If the kids are at home, they want the technology in their hands, he said. Whether kids are face-to-face, they're blended, or they're fully virtual. We want to cover that and make sure our kids are taken care of when school starts, LUS said. Jamie Bergeron fired from paramedic job over post by Ken Stickley. Acadian Companies has fired a 30-year-old employee, Jamie Bergeron, and celebrated Cajun musician after a public uproar over posts about race on his personal social media. A statement said the company made Bergeron's dismissal public because it is important to our Acadian family and the communities we are honored to serve that we both acknowledge and communicate the action that we have taken. The post and underlying insensitivity and disrespect shown by the post are not in any way representative of our company, our beliefs and values, and the extraordinary work of the men and women who work for Acadian, the company said in a statement Tuesday afternoon. We humbly ask for consideration, as we have all been reminded of in these trying times, that one person and their actions do not represent the whole of one community, one gender, one race, one religion, or one company. Bergeron's social media post created an uproar starting last week. On his social media account, Bergeron, who leads Jamie Bergeron and the Kickin' Cajuns, used an image of a shopper in a store wearing a Ku Klux Klan hood, a stickman image of a vehicle crashing into protesters in a roadway, and other statements perceived as racially insensitive or offensive. Company spokesman Randall Mann said the company has clear rules about social media that were clearly violated by Bergeron's post. He said the company holds annual training on diversity and employees have to sign to acknowledge the social media policy. He said the company twice sent out warnings about social media use to employees in the past 3 weeks. The company's leadership suspended Bergeron last week and met over the matter for several days, while Human Resources met with Bergeron, who took down the social media post from public view at the company's request. However, Bergeron was shown wearing the Acadian ambulance uniform on his personal social media account, identifying him with the company, which quickly distanced itself from Bergeron in his post. Mann said Bergeron's situation was handled by his vice president. He said the company was diligent in reviewing the complaints and in dealing with the employee, but could not comment further on the personnel action. Mann said he's answered numerous calls from people angry over Bergeron's post, although he said those who called were respectful as well as passionate. On Tuesday, he was fielding communications from people angry that Bergeron had been suspended and then fired. The company, in its statement, said, "We are doing our part to educate and create awareness and a sense of renewed respect for the value of a diverse workforce and the importance of the current Black Lives Matter movement." But Mann said the company will review its own policies in planning for the future. "Know that we have received your phone calls and read your texts," the company said. "The management and 4,800 employee owners of Acadian Ambulance Service value the trust the public places in us to care for them. Derogatory actions by any employee who blatantly violates that trust will not be tolerated." Mann said he hopes Acadians' customers will judge the company on its 49 years of saving lives and serving our communities. "The acts of one employee shouldn't tarnish the other 4,800, he said, calling the situation hurtful for Acadian employees. Activist. Sorry. Okay. This is a story by Kate Gagliano and Megan Wyatt. As the victim in a weekend stabbing improves, LGBTQ activists are asking police to consider the role the man's gay identity may have played in the attack. An 18-year-old Holden White described his appearance as a hot mess Tuesday, according to his family. The sarcastic comment represents significant progress in White's recovery. Just one day earlier, he'd been on a ventilator and a feeding tube, unable to communicate except by nodding his head or shrugging his shoulders. White, who is gay, suffered life-threatening injuries during a grinder date gone wrong Saturday and has been fighting for his life at Lafayette General Medical Center ever since. He is still in the intensive care unit, but is in good spirits. His spunky and funny attitude is back, said Faith Roussel, White's 26-year-old sister. The fact that his sense of humor is back and he's calling himself a hot mess and things like that. He's in the hospital. He hasn't even seen himself. How would he even know if he's a hot mess? White suffered traumatic injuries Saturday at a residence in the 400 block of Maryview Farm Road. His injuries include stab wounds to the neck, strangulation wounds, blunt force trauma to the back of the head, and cuts so deep into his wrist that his hands were nearly severed, according to the family. Chance Seneca, the 19-year-old man charged with attempted second-degree murder in this case, had his first court appearance Tuesday morning and remains jailed with a $250,000 bail. Lafayette Police spokesman Sergeant Wayne Griffin said the attack is not being classified as a hate crime and said evidence points to other motives. Griffin would not comment on the evidence or other specifics about the case, citing the ongoing investigation and Seneca's future prosecution. Hate crimes, which are often violent, are those motivated by prejudice because of race, religion, sexual orientation, or other specific criteria. Griffin said he does not expect the crime to be later classified as a hate crime. Matthew Humphrey, president of LGBTQ ally group PFLAG Lafayette, said he's concerned by the police department's statements that the attack was not hate motivated. Humphrey said he feels the declaration is premature, given a full week hasn't passed since the attack, and PFLAG will be watching closely to ensure all aspects of the crime and Seneca's background are investigated. The police are put in place, The police are put in place to do due diligence and get to the bottom of things and investigate thoroughly. And I don't know how you're able to say anything definitively about any type of crime 4 days in, especially something this heinous, Humphrey said. I don't know how you can look at his injuries and not think there was a significant element of hate involved. Humphrey said PFLAG Lafayette has reached out to White's family to offer support and will be taking cues from the family before applying public pressure to the police department for the attack to be considered as a hate crime. There has been an overwhelming amount of support for White and his family, Roussel said. A GoFundMe page started by Roussel has raised nearly $50,000 in 2 days. Gage Sewer, a Kaplan native who performs under the drag name Ashley Hall, has been actively sharing updates on White's recovery and promoting the fundraiser on Facebook. The two men attended Kaplan High together, were in the school band, and worked on school musicals together, bonding as two of the few openly gay students at the school. He described White as an outgoing guy with a big smile who stood up for his beliefs and whose confidence and radiant personality you could feel when he walked in the room. Swar said he was returning home from a drag event when he learned of White's attack and was gutted. The 21-year-old said the horrific details brought to mind past attacks against gay men and the violence the LGBTQ community has historically faced, and he felt like his community was under attack, whether Seneca intended to inspire fear or not. Sewer said he hopes investigators don't brush aside a potential hate crime motive. The use of the app Grindr, which is geared toward gay and bisexual men, indicates Seneca may have intended to harm a gay man. If White weren't gay, I'm so sorry about, cannot get this name right. I apologize. Swar said he doesn't think he would have been victimized. More than anything, Swar said he wants justice for his friend. I don't ever want for a second for Holden to have to know that the person who did something like this to him is walking freely on the streets, or there's a chance that it could happen again to him. White's family has questioned the Lafayette Police Department's decision not to charge Seneca with a hate crime in the case. They believe Seneca attacked White because of his sexual orientation. They also believe the attack was planned because of Seneca's post on Facebook, including a profile picture of Jeffrey Dahmer, the infamous serial killer who admitted to killing and dismembering 16 men and boys from 78 to 91. Camp Unique, Dreams Foundation. Every summer, the Dreams Foundation of Acadiana hosts the greatest camp of all, Camp Unique. Camp Unique is suited for individuals with special needs. Camp Unique will be held July 13th to the 17th for ages 15 to 13 and July 2024 for ages 14 and up. A fee of $75. The fee is $75. The theme this year is Peace and Love. All Camp Unique sessions will be held at Lark's Acadian Village. Individuals of all ages have a blast participating at a camp that is specifically tailored to them. They get the opportunity to take part in activities such as art, fitness, karaoke, music, and dance, as well as getting a Camp Unique t-shirt and a snack every day. A highlight of Camp Unique this year will be the storytelling session of Chief Greyhawk Perkins, commented Dreams Foundation Executive Director Danielle Watkins. As a recognized expert on Native American and American colonial history, Perkins has inspired many audiences over the years, sharing tales of ancient cultures as a tribal storyteller and as a teacher of various subjects in Louisiana's school system. The registration form for Camp Unique can be found on the Dreams Foundation of Acadiana website, www.dreamsfoundationaca.org. Volunteers are also being sought at this time. If you are interested in volunteering, please complete the application on the Dreams website under the Volunteer tab. For more information about Camp Unique, contact Danielle Watkins via email at Danielle, and let me spell that for you because it's an unusual spelling. It's DONIELLE at dreamsfoundationaca.org, or try the phone 337-962-1609. Okay, next story. State says many nursing homes aren't following, sorry, takes me a while to get the page up. My apology. So the state says many nursing homes aren't following guidelines. This story is by Famon A. Roberts III. As of June 17th, approximately one-third of Louisiana's 278 nursing homes had not complied with state and federal coronavirus testing guidelines for residents and staff, according to a letter to nursing homes from State Health Officer Jimmy Guidry that threatens sanctions for those that still ignore the requirements. The letter sheds new light on state health officials' efforts to combat the coronavirus in the area in which it has proved most deadly, congregate settings, especially nursing homes, where hundreds of residents live in close proximity and suffer from many of the underlying conditions that enhance the virus's lethal potential. Louisiana ARP Director Denise Botcher called the lack of testing compliance abhorrent. It's a life and death issue, she said. The state has a responsibility to regulate this industry and protect lives. Guidry's letter also raises questions about why such steps were not taken earlier, even as state officials said early on that testing was a key to slowing the virus and that nursing homes were an area of particular concern. The Federal Centers for Disease Control and Prevention began recommending testing of all nursing home residents and staff around May 11th, the CDC spokesman said. Only now do state health officials appear to have run out of patience for the homes that are not heeding federal testing recommendations. The data also reflects that there are one-third of all nursing facilities that are not testing in accordance with federal guidelines, Guidry wrote in the letter. The federal guidance includes testing all residents and staff, then repeating the test weekly for all those who had either tested negative or had not been tested, according to the letter. Only after nursing homes had gotten all negative results from tests conducted at least 7 days apart in a 14-day window can resident testing stop. But weekly testing of staff who had either tested negative or had been untested should continue, the letter says. If any staff test positive, weekly testing of residents and staff should begin again. Facilities have until June 30 to establish a baseline test of all residents and staff, and have until July 14 to retest all residents and staff as part of what is supposed to be a weekly testing regimen. Michelle Bork, whose mother is a resident at the Archdiocese of New Orleans, runs Chateau de Notre Dame in New Orleans, said testing done at the home did more than uncover possible infections. It was a comfort to her. It's very reassuring to me to get information confirming that the home my mother is in has performed baseline testing, she said. The letter comes as the state, like the rest of the country, is dealing with the deadly toll that the coronavirus has taken among the elderly, especially those in nursing homes. Federal estimates have put the nursing home death toll at about one-third of the overall U.S. total, though some other analyses have put the nursing home toll around 40%. In Louisiana, the state reported on Monday that 1,307 nursing home residents had died from the coronavirus, almost 44% of the state's total 3,004 coronavirus deaths as of Monday. That was 51 more nursing home deaths than the state had reported the week before. Guidry's letter lays clear the choice for nursing home administrators: immediately begin testing residents and staff or face penalties. Those that do not meet testing requirements are subject to sanction by LDH and or the Louisiana Medicaid program, the letter stated. Sanctions may include, but are not limited to, civil monetary penalties, denials of new admissions, and or the withholding of Medicaid reimbursement and payment. Botcher of the Louisiana ARP said the state should also make sure that which homes are in compliance and which are not is known to relatives of residents. Families have a right to know and be continually in the loop, she said. In Louisiana nursing homes, the deadliest outbreaks have been at Forest Manor Nursing and Rehabilitation Center in Covington, where 38 residents have died, and at J. Michael Morrow Memorial Nursing Home in Arnaudville, where 4 have died. Highland Place Rehab and Nursing Center in Shreveport has reported the most infections with 129. 29 of residents there died, according to the state's report. The rate of infection and the pace of deaths in Louisiana's nursing homes seem to have slowed from April and May, when there was more than 100 deaths reported for 6 consecutive weeks. But state officials said last week that it was too early to draw any conclusions about why that case might be the case. Guidry's letter says that as of mid-June, approximately 79% of Louisiana's nearly 24,000 nursing home residents and 62% of staff have been tested. State health officials have conducted more than 500 on-site and virtual visits to help nursing homes improve their infection control practices, the letter states. Senate approves big tax break, others on tap, by Tyler Bridges. The Louisiana Senate extended a popular tax credit Tuesday that will cost the state at least $75 million a year, but the Senate sidelined for a day three other tax bills that would cost the Treasury millions more. Senate President Page Cortez, a Republican from Lafayette, said afterward that he wants to limit the cost of the additional tax breaks for business to less than $20 million a year. The tax credit that senators passed would go to investors who restore historic buildings. Not all tax credits are created equal. Some we lose money on, said State Senator Rick Ward III, a Republican from Port Allen, who handled the bill in the Senate. This has economic impact and saves buildings that have historic value. House Bill 4 must return to the House for approval following the approval of several Senate amendments. An amendment by Ward capped the cost at $120 million per year to the state, compared with the current estimated cost of $150 million. A separate amendment by State Senator Brett Allain, a Republican from Franklin, would allow investors and others to claim only $75 million in tax credits the first year, $85 million for the second year, and more in later years to reach the $120 million. My angst is that when we know there's going to be a shortfall and we're going to have a budget crisis of hundreds of millions of dollars, we're going to have to decide between spending on healthcare and higher ed, Elaine told senators. Senators approved HB 4, 36-1, with State Senator Jay Morris, a Republican from Monroe, casting the only no vote. Give money to rich people, Morris shouted from his seat to his colleagues afterward. Give it away. The Senate had 3 more tax breaks for business on its calendar, but the bills were referred to the Senate Finance Committee for consideration Wednesday. Once passed by the committee, those measures then must win full Senate approval. All 3 bills originated in the House before the Senate amended them to reduce their cost. House votes to protect schools from suits by Will Sentell. A bill that would shield public and private school systems from lawsuits if students or teachers contract the coronavirus won Louisiana House approval Tuesday. The vote was 82-17, sending the measure to the state Senate with 1 week left in the special session. The protections in House Bill 59 would also apply to colleges and universities. State Representative Buddy Mincy Jr., a Republican from Denham Springs and the sponsor of the bill, said he is concerned that without such a law, schools in Livingston Parish and elsewhere will opt for distance learning rather than traditional classrooms. Oops. I'm sorry. Because of liability worries. I apologize, but my computer is moving my words around. I'm so sorry. Mincy, a veteran school board member, said the Livingston system includes about 26,000 students and thousands more teachers and other school employees who could claim they contracted the virus at school. I don't think our school systems can prepare for that, he said. Critics said the proposal is tilted toward school systems over children. My only concern is the people who seem to be left out of your legislation is the students, said Representative Gary Carter, a Democrat from New Orleans. This is a reduction in student rights. The proposal was sought by the Louisiana School Boards Association, which represents board members statewide. The 2020-2021 school year begins August 6th for some districts. The debate took place as state and local education leaders are grappling with how to safely reopen schools amid rising rates of the virus in Louisiana. Governor John Bell Edwards announced Monday that the state will remain in phase 2 of restrictions aimed at combating the illness. Representative Tony Bacala, a Republican from Prairieville, echoed Mincy's view that the bill is crucial in paving the way for students to return to classrooms. Bacala said Ascension Parish Schools Superintendent David Alexander called the legislation critically necessary and implied that it would play a major role in launching in-person classes or remote learning. That is how serious this issue is, Bacala said. They do not want to expose themselves to the civil liability. Let's see. We are going to move to Today in History. Actually, I think we're going to do a PSA. Vitalant begins testing all blood donations for antibodies to COVID-19. Vitalant became the first national blood bank to test all blood donations for antibodies to SARS-CoV-2, the coronavirus that causes COVID-19, the nation's largest independent nonprofit blood collector, serving hospital patients in South Louisiana. It is providing the test results to donors who complete successful blood donations, which are critically needed now. The antibody test, authorized by the FDA, will indicate if the donor's immune system has produced antibodies to the virus, regardless of whether they ever showed symptoms. It is possible that over time, the broad use of antibody tests and clinical follow-up will provide the medical community with more information on whether a person who has recovered from COVID-19 is at a lower risk of infection, and if so, for how long. For more information, visit vitalant.org/COVID-free. That's vitalant.org/COVID-free. Donors are urged to give blood as soon as possible. Appointments are strongly recommended. Visit vitalant.org, vitalant.org, or call 877-258-4825. AOC teams with United Way of Acadiana for Learn United. The United Way of Acadiana is teamed up with AOC and other local educational groups for Learn United, bridging the digital gap to provide educational resources for households that don't have internet but do have a television. The Learn United programs air weekdays from 8 to 2 on AOC2, Cox 16, LUS 4, and streaming at aocinc.org/watch. For the daily schedules and to submit content for the program, visit the United Way of Acadiana website, unitedwayofacadiana.org/learn-united. Today is Wednesday, June 24th, the 176th day of 2020. There are 190 days left in the year. On June 24th, 1497, the first recorded sighting of North America by a European took place as explorer John Cabot spotted land, probably in present-day Canada. On this date, in 1807, a grand jury in Richmond, Virginia, indicted former Vice President Aaron Burr on charges of treason and high misdemeanor. He was later acquitted. In 1940, France signed an armistice with Italy during World War II. In 1947, what's regarded as the first modern UFO sighting took place as private pilot Kenneth Arnold, an Idaho businessman, reported seeing 9 silvery objects flying in a weaving formation near Mount Rainier in Washington. In 1948, communist forces cut off all land and water routes between West Germany and West Berlin, prompting the West Allies to organize the Berlin Airlift. Excuse me. Let's see. In 1968, Resurrection City, a shanty town constructed as part of the Poor People's March on Washington, D.C., was closed down by authorities. In 1975, 113 people were killed when Eastern Airlines Flight 66, a Boeing 727 carrying 124 people, crashed while attempting to land during a thunderstorm at JFK Airport. In 1983, the Space Shuttle Challenger, carrying America's first woman in space, Sally Ride, coasted to a safe landing at Edwards Air Force Base in California. In 1992, the Supreme Court, in a 5-4 decision, strengthened its 30-year ban on officially sponsored worship in public schools, prohibiting prayer as a part of graduation ceremonies. 10 years ago, President Barack Obama declared that he and visiting Russian President Dmitry Medvedev, I can't even get that, I'm sorry, had succeeded in resetting the relationship between the former Cold War adversaries. 5 years ago, a federal judge in Boston formally sentenced Boston Marathon bomber Dzhokhar Tsarnaev to death for the 2013 terror attacks. 1 year ago, the driver of a pickup truck involved in a collision in New Hampshire that left 7 motorcyclists dead was charged with 7 counts of negligent homicide. The grand jury later handed up indictments on 23 charges. Vladimir Zhukovsky is awaiting trial. So today's birthdays, let's see, rock singer Arthur Brown is 78. Rock musician Jeff Beck is 76. Mick Fleetwood is 73. John Illsley of Dire Straits is 71. Gosh, a lot of rock musicians today. Nancy Allen is 70. Reggae singer Astro of UB40 is 63. A lot of music people here today. Let me see. Actress producer Mindy Kaling is 41. And I think that's good for the time being. Now we move into one of my favorite parts of the day, the ever popular horoscope, or not. Okay, so let's find out what's going on for us today. So, Cancer, embrace life and don't be afraid to try something new. A different approach to an old idea will help you get things up and running. Use your charm to win support. Leo, make a difference by offering to help those who cannot help themselves. Building a system that can improve community services or the way your family runs will pay off. Virgo, don't take a risk when it comes to your health and your family's well-being. Greater involvement in finding solutions and making a difference will lead to a safer future. Libra, your heart is in the right place. A kind gesture you make will speak volumes about the type of person you are. Follow your heart, make a difference, and please everyone. Scorpio, venture out and visit new places. It will clear your head and help you decide what you want to do next. Sagittarius, check your family history and you'll discover something that will give you clarity regarding your likes and dislikes. Love is on the rise and romance will lead to a commitment. Capricorn, say what's on your mind and find out who will pitch in and help you. Don't let a change at home cause problems for others. Work with everyone and keep the peace. Aquarius, partnerships will take an emotional turn. Prepare to do something to diffuse an explosive situation. Discipline will be required when dealing with unruly or indulgent individuals. Pisces, unique people and situations will attract you. Talks will spark your imagination and give you a springboard to launch some of your ideas. Broaden your scope. Aries, you'll be itching to get out and mingle, but before you give in to temptation, consider the ramifications. Time alone with a loved one will turn out to be quite romantic. Taurus, making a move for the wrong reasons won't help. Check your motives and consider if you are letting your emotions replace common sense. When in doubt, sit tight. Gemini, make adjustments at home that will give you more leisure time to spend with loved ones. Refuse to let anyone talk you into taking on a responsibility that doesn't belong to you. I love it. Thank you so much. Remember, the horoscope is an entertainment feature and not based on scientific fact. Just remember that if you are feeling overwhelmed with stress, fear, and anxiety about the uncertainty surrounding this public health emergency, there's a special Keeping Calm Through COVID hotline you can call. This connects you to trained, compassionate counselors who can offer support and who can direct you to mental health and substance abuse counseling services. Trained counselors are available 24/7 and all calls are confidential. So if you're having a difficult time, like I'm sure we all are, if you're having a more than normal difficult time, please call 866-310-7977. That would be 866-310-7977. And for the latest COVID-19 updates and information, you can also call 311 Lafayette.services. Call centers with volunteers and medical professionals are active 24/7 to answer your questions and determine if you need to get screened. You may also call 311 and press option 2 if you're a business owner, employee, or are looking for a job to get information about applying for small business recovery loans, apply for unemployment benefits, and related programs. And it is 9:56, which means my time is up with you today. I always love being here with you on Wednesdays. Please wear a mask. I have a little statement I tell my guy friends. I go, real men wear masks. So don't be afraid to do that. Get out there and be safe if you're going to go out. If we do this, we'll get through this faster. Matt, it's all yours if you're still out there.
Hey, I'm here, but we're all wrapped for the day.
You?
Thanks so much, Danon.
Not, I can keep reading.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Okay. So I don't know where Matt. Hello.